Is there anything else, Nick, in terms of what's on your radar right now that you would put on our radar in terms of what's interesting to you?
Yeah, so I think one thing that we talk about a lot, and it's certainly a massive investment area for us, is if you just sit back for a minute and think about the different iterations of the word workplace over the past, even just 10 years, right? I mean, it has changed so many times in 10 years that I think right now most companies are going through a bit of an identity crisis. So we started out being in the office 5 days a week, right? That was kind of what we did. You then went and this thing called WeWork came out of the ground, which was, hey, there's this idea of flex space where I can go to this other space for 3 hours a day, 1 day here, and I can, change the size of where I work every day. That was a massive shift. You can argue the valuation and everything else you want.
It was a massive owner of real estate too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Massive.
Yeah.
I mean, the largest grower of real estate for many years in New York City. And so that was a massive shift. Then COVID happened. Everybody went home. There is no office space. And now we're going to do a little bit of everything.
Well, I remember Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella calls himself an event organizer. That would seem like you would want a very different type of space if you're coming together and there has to be a certain celebratory event like
and it's an offsite.
Right.
So you have these iterations, and as a CEO, right, we're a 550 person company. And so me and my co-founder Ryan spent so much time trying to build a place where culture was really important, where people could be their best self. And they wanted to be there, and that drove productivity. So trying to do that now over the course of 5 iterations, at home, in an office, in a flex space, from a cafe, is
what
really
does it
hard.
look like? I mean, 'cause it used to be foosball tables and like, oh look, they've got a slide and Legos. I love this place. Hi Google. But what do you think is the optimal use of space in this environment, given the way we work now?
Yeah, so I think now that the word workplace has been totally redefined. I think it is going to be the combination of a few things. I think one, in terms of the office itself, the way that we've been explaining it to our office customers, because pretty much all of them are our customers now, is when someone is leasing from you a 5,000 square foot office, you have to be prepared to give them access to all 5 million of the buildings that you own, 5 million feet.
For best practices? What respect?
Well, so they want to use the amenity space in the building across the street you own. They want to use the gym down the street. They want to use the cafe. So that is now their workplace. So they're signing a lease for 5,000. They're getting 5 million feet. And if you don't give them the technology to bridge that actual experience, they're not coming to your building or your portfolio, because now they're leasing a campus, not a space. And so that is a big shift that's happening, and it's happening very quickly.
It sounds like you have to create a village green with partners then, because nobody can afford 5 million
feet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that's either sounds like a terrible customer, or it sounds like a rethinking of how you organize people together and organize customers to make the economics of that make sense.
So it depends on the portfolio, right? So in New York City, you have probably a dozen landlords who all own north of 10 million feet.
That's true.
Right? So and for them, those have all been individual assets. And so now, again, the thinking is you're not leasing individual space, you're leasing your campus.
Right, an experience.
Right, because that is now the experience that we're used to. I'm used to having a space for a meeting like this, for an offsite. I want to go and use your amenity center. I don't want to go lease space somewhere else for that. And so that is a pretty big paradigm shift in how we even think about workplace that I think gets us closer to where we want to be versus this, forever flex home 4 days a week thing that's not really working.
I think it feels like a good place to kind of complete the narrative arc of the conversation in terms of, do you foresee a period where we get back to where we were in terms of occupancy rates, or do you think there has to be a fundamental redesign then of the space for that to even be possible in most of these cities?
I think we get back to certainly a 3 to 4 day a week work week. At VTS today, we are 3 days a week. We are building new space. Our sales team's in 4 days a week. And we're actually now hearing...
So those guys got to hustle. I'm the daughter of a salesman, so yes.
That's right. Yeah. But it's funny, we're now actually hearing people, not in our company, but other companies, quit their jobs because there's no one in the office.
Yeah, no, I've
And
heard that.
they wanna be
Especially
a part of the
millennials,
culture.
you know, there's nobody to mentor you. You show up and it's empty.
Right, you want to
It's-
learn. It's hard to learn on a 20-minute Zoom call.
Very true. Very true.
It's very hard.
Well, then that should give you hope that you will be in business for some time.
Let's hope.
Great. Thanks for joining us.